So people come to my channel all the time and they subscribe because they want me to talk about real estate because it's the ultimate way of building a passive cash flow. But I'm here to tell you that real estate is probably the slowest way of building a passive income. There are other ways that are actually a lot more aggressive. And in today's video, I'm going to reveal some secrets I've never talked about before. One major one in particular, as we venture down the road of 3 ways to create passive cash flow. And the first one will be real estate. We're going to talk about it so you can put it into perspective. And then I got 2 other juicy ones. But the third one, watch out. It's dynamite. Here we go. First of all, if you have a job, you actually have active cash flow. You have to work for it. You have to show up at your 9 to 5. You got to do your duties. And then guess what? You get paid money. And it's cash flow. It's like at the end of the month, we got all my paychecks. Now I pay my bills. Do I have money left over? I hope so. But today we're not talking about active cash flow. We're talking about passive cash flow. This is cash that comes in that you don't have to work for because you worked one time, but then you just keep getting paid over and over and over again. Bottom line, cash flow is the movement of money in and out of an asset or business or investment. It's the net profit after all income and expenses are accounted for. So here's the real definition of cash flow. Take your total income, subtract your total expenses, and whatever you have left over is cash flow. If it's a negative number, that's called a negative cash flow. That's no bueno. All right, here we go. We're going to talk about 3 different ways of building a passive cash flow. And the first one, like I started off with, is the game of real estate. And I can't ignore it because the reality is within 4.5 years as a college kid of buying real estate, even though I had no money and basically no credit, I built a portfolio of 25 homes. So the 25 homes were rented out, they were leased out. And after I paid all my expenses, there was leftover money and I was making over $12,000 a month. It meant that by the time I graduated college, I didn't have to get a job. Now, real estate can mean a lot of different things. You can do buy and hold rentals, you can do short-term rentals like Airbnb or VRBO. There's commercial properties, there's multifamily, there's all sorts of different strategies. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I believe in one strategy in real estate above all the rest. And it's the hottest sector for sure for the next decade. It's single family real estate. It's entry level, 3 or 4 bedroom, 2 or 3 bathroom homes, newer homes, and it's buying them in the right areas where they get the maximum cash flow. Now, don't hear me wrong. The cash flow on each deal, if you do it right, is big. It's like, oh, I make $300, $400, $500, $600 a month per property. And it's like, well, one property won't retire me, but if I had 10 of them or 20 of them, yeah, I could quit my job and that money is steady for life. But you see, most people don't get to 20 or 30 homes. They get to like 1 or 2 or 3 homes and then they expect that cash flow to be enough. And the reality is it isn't. You need to find a way to keep on going. By the way, when you're done watching this video, if you click the link below, you can learn more about how I make real estate turnkey for you so that it's not just 1 or 2 or 3 homes. It can turn into 10, 20, 30, or 100 homes. I've got 2,000 real estate partners. I build portfolios for them to make sure that they don't get stuck at just 1 or 2 homes. But now listen very carefully. Real estate in the beginning is not a cash flow game. It's a growth game. Like I buy a property in a hot market, hoping to sell it in 5 years and double or triple the money that I put into it. And so, yeah, there's cash flow there, but if I triple my money, then I can buy 3 homes and then I get 3 times the cash flow. And then 5 years later, I'm going to sell those 3 homes and trade them for maybe 6, 7, or 8 homes. And now the cash flow becomes meaningful, but it takes time to get there. And by the way, do not get too confused on real estate as a cash flow play alone. When I say growth, what I mean is the property is going to appreciate. I'm also going to rent out the property, and guess what that means? It means someone else is paying the property down or paying it off for me. I also have tax benefits. So there's multiple benefits for why I buy real estate, and oddly, cash flow is like the smallest reason why I do it. But if you do enough real estate, you're going to be swimming in the cash. The second strategy that I want to talk about today for building cash flow can create way more cash flow than real estate does. And it's about buying a business or a franchise. Some people will buy businesses for growth reasons, but it's almost inverted from real estate. They're there for the cash flow. It's like, wow, I bought this business or I started this business or I bought this franchise and it pays me $8,000 a month very consistently. Wow, I can quit that job and my business that someone else manages and operates is now paying me that $8,000 a month. I guess I don't need a job anymore. Hence the passive income potential. Now, I will tell you that real estate done right is far less risky than business or franchise, but the upside of cash flow, not in the hundreds, but potentially thousands or tens of thousands of dollars is way more there with business or franchise. But I do have to issue a very important warning. When you buy a business or a franchise, in the beginning, it's not going to be totally passive most of the time. There's going to be an active component. In other words, like all passive incomes, you have to do something to start the party. And if you get involved in the wrong kind of business, you might wake up 3 years later and you're like, oh, it's not passive yet. Like I'm here every day working this thing. Some businesses can be like that. So you have to start with the end in mind. When you acquire a business or a franchise, you want to ask this one question. Does this business have absentee owner possibilities and how quickly? Now, if you want to passive cash flow, don't start a business. I'm talking about either buying a business, even if it's with like a leveraged buyout where it's no money down, or buying a franchise. And of course, you can partner up with other people and bring on business partners so that they bring the money to the table. So you don't always have to bring money out of pocket, but check it out. Unless it's a very specific type of business, like the third one I'm going to be talking about, buying an existing business with a management team or buying a franchise with someone else manage it for you can be a little bit of a process, and it's going to take a little bit of work from you, and there will be higher risk than real estate, but like I said, that reward can be bought. By the way, according to the International Franchise Association, franchise owners earn an average of $80,000 annually. Some of them exceed $250,000. And if someone else is managing it and you're bringing home that bacon, guess what? You could become like Shaq, who said, wow, I don't want one franchise that works. I want 40 of them, or I want 100 of them, because there are people out there that find the franchise that works and then they want to own as many as possible and make it all passive. Now let's just pause and do a quick comparison of the first way of creating a passive income, real estate, and the second way through business or franchise. Notice with real estate that if you're going to buy a property that you're not going to occupy, you probably need $50,000 to $100,000 to get started with it. Whereas buying a business or a franchise, you might need as little as maybe tens of thousands of dollars, but you also might need millions of dollars. I would say there's a lot of franchises out there where you need $50,000 to $100,000 out of pocket like you would real estate, and then you're going to get an SBA loan for another few $100,000 to build out that location. Now with real estate, your cash flow potential on a single property can be hundreds of dollars a month, but if you get into a franchise, it could be that $80,000. So again, way more cash flow, but the risk is it might be more active in just the beginning. And if you do it wrong, it might be active forever as long as you're in that opportunity. On the real estate side, you have very, very minimal risk. If you're working with a team like me that's done $2 billion on thousands of transactions in the best markets where we have a track record, on your own, definitely more risky, but compared to business or a franchise, that's a lot riskier. Real estate done correctly has like a 10-minute a month time commitment. Like it really truly is passive. Business, it can be passive, but you have to select the right one. You have to have the existing management team. There's got to be a strategy before you buy it to get there. If you buy it and you don't have a strategy for absentee owner status, you may never achieve it. Remember, always start with the end in mind. Okay, so Kris, you mentioned a third passive cash flow strategy you were going to share today. You said it's something you've never shared before. You shared it super exciting. Let me tell you what it is. You're going to want to write this one down and take some notes. It's called MRR, which stands for Medical Revenue Recovery. Now, the reason why you haven't heard of it is because it's a brand new niche that was previously protected, and it was a change in our legal system that exposed this multi-billion-dollar opportunity and makes it available. This is a very specific kind of business. And by the way, for 2025, 2026, 2027, it's going to be the one secretly that I'm pushing the most because it has the highest passive cash flow of any opportunity I've ever seen in 20 years. Literally in the next 5 years, I could achieve a cash flow equivalent to owning $1 billion outright with what I'm about to tell you. First of all, let's talk about what medical revenue recovery is. You understand that people see doctors, and then doctors bill the insurance companies, and those insurance companies do not always pay the doctors all the money that they're supposed to. And that's where you come in. There's a brand new industry that has emerged that you can now legally participate in, where you have the ability to connect doctors with medical revenue recovery teams to say, hey, if there's a doctor or a surgeon out there that has not been getting paid all of their money from the insurance carrier, you can now connect them to qualified medical revenue recovery teams and earn a part of the commission. It's basically a team that will work with the insurance companies to get them to finish paying in full, and they get to keep a cut of that. And that cut to you, well, you can imagine how astronomically huge it potentially could be because you know there's a lot of money in the medical game. Now, there's a team I've connected with. It's with a buddy of mine. His name is Sean Callaghy. And for the last 27 years, he's been in medical revenue recovery. And then when it was deregulated, he reached out to me and said, hey, Kris, if you want to help find doctors, that's a really dumb, simple system. Any doctor that basically signs up, we could end up paying you an average of $30,000 a year passively. And that's when it was like, whoa, if I find one doctor that qualifies for this and they work within your medical recovery team, then every year, as long as that doctor works, I might earn an extra $30,000 a year. Well, how many doctors do I need to make $500,000 a year? A dozen, 15 doctors? And that's where it really clicked. When I buy real estate, I put a 20% down payment. It literally could be $50,000 to $100,000, and then I collect $400 or $500 a month. In this other game, I don't have a down payment like I do in real estate. I'm basically finding these doctors using their proven system, and every doctor potentially pays me $30,000 a year. Well, that's where I decided to run some math. If I were to just find one doctor every month for a year, that's 12 doctors, and that would potentially pay me around $360,000 a year. If I found 4 doctors a month, for a year. That's $1.4 million a year. So we're talking about a game where you could just work your butt off for 6 or 12 months or maybe 2 or 3 years, but be set for life. Here's the cool part. It's actually a really simple business to get started with. You basically reach out to qualified surgeons using Google. It's very easy to find out how to do this. There's hundreds of thousands of doctors that need this service, so finding them is no problem. And then we give you a script on what to say to their billing team that gets them interested. And then if they decide to work with Callaghan's recovery team, game over. Like, they're in the system and you get paid residually, passively, like clockwork. Well, check it out. If you're interested in learning more about this, it's a very limited opportunity. It's very time sensitive. But if you want to be on my team and do this with me right now, I've got the scripts, I got the resources, I got everything you need to get this business started. You can click the link below to get some more information on this. This literally might be the business that you've been looking for. And if you're going to join up with my team, we are going to crush it together, especially because every week I want to be on the phone with you, doing an accountability call, making sure that you're getting the most out of this opportunity. More importantly, getting yourself out of your job and retired as quickly as possible so that you can move on living the life of your dreams. Hey, thanks for watching today's video. We covered 3 different ways of building a passive income. The first one is real estate, the second one is business, and the third one, a brand new niche, medical revenue recovery. Click the links below, get more information about real estate or franchises or what I'm doing in MRR, because it's the space to be. Hey, and honestly, if you just love the information on real estate and wish I had gone deeper on it, well, I've made a video for anyone that's saying, hey, what if I had $10,000 and I wanted to turn it into $1 million through the game of real estate? Kris, how would you go about doing that? Well, I made just such a video. Click right here, watch it, and I'll see you right there.